You've heard the old expression, the pen is mightier than the sword. Well, sometimes the brush can be mightier than the bulldozer. Miranda Cohen caught up with a group of Nashville painters who use their talents not only to create art, but to preserve valuable historic landmarks. Here's the story of the Chestnut Group.
It is known as a jewel of Franklin. The Harlansdale Farm is 200 acres, sprawling over the rolling hills of Williamson County. Once a walking horse farm, the barns, homes, and land were gifted to the city, and today it is hosting the prestigious Chestnut Group, a group of talented plein air painters dedicated to capturing enchanting landscapes and outdoor beauty.
I look out at this vista here at Harlansdale Farm, and it is such a gift to the city of Franklin, Williamson County, to the state. That precious house, the Hayes house, that was the founding homestead here, represents so much history, and it's just sweetly nestled over there with our blue Tennessee hills, the Blue Ridge Hill light that's coming in. It just drew me today, so that's what I want to try to paint.
The nonprofit Chestnut Group, named for the once most predominant tree in the South, does more than capture rustic beauty on canvas. The group's founder, Kim Barrick, says they are here for a purpose: to raise money and awareness for historic properties that are in need of repair and preserve endangered lands that make up the picturesque volunteer state.
We really welcome anybody that is interested in raising money for a project that might be land that's threatened to be developed. It could be a historic site that needs funding. We'll come, we'll paint our paintings, and then they'll have a party or a gathering around it, sell the paintings.
The plein air method has been around for centuries, and translated from French, plein air simply means painting in the plein air.
Outdoor painting is one of the most challenging ways to express yourself. You have to go outside, the weather has to be right for you to get the light. The light changes every 20 minutes. If you're trying to paint a sunrise or a sunset, it's like every 2 to 5 minutes.
What we do as outdoor painters is we're just painting what the light is doing as it falls on trees and grasses and buildings. And so that ever-changing light and atmosphere, you just can't get any more true than being out in nature. It is just the most lovely experience. I'm addicted to it.
I went ahead and put my paint on my palette.
And plein air painters have their art down to a science. They work quickly, efficiently, and carry a makeshift mini studio with them.
You'll get more accurate color outside than a camera can ever capture. When you're outside and you use a little palette with very few colors, you have to mix colors really fast. The whole key to being a successful plein air painter, like the first thing you need to do is have a really good setup, because the faster you can set up, the faster you can get your mixing and your colors down on your palette.
All that light accoutrement that you can all put in a little backpack, take with you, grab some friends, go alone, and go get out here and enjoy Tennessee's beautiful, beautiful landscape.
There is even artistic logic behind what they wear. The painters wear black or dark colors as not to reflect artificial light onto their work. And they wear large brimmed hats because sunglasses can distort colors. Renowned artist Bridget Hubbard says because painters are visual learners, watching others create outdoors is often the best classroom.
You do it alone. It's a solitary endeavor most of the time, and then to be around other painters and artists and that camaraderie, and you're all working independently but painting the same space, and you get to see everybody's process and everyone's paintings and all their work. It's a lot of fun.
The Chestnut Group is dedicated to capturing all the vibrant colors nature has to display, while preserving and protecting Tennessee's rich heritage for future generations to enjoy.
I'm a native Tennessean, have lived here my whole life, and have traveled around the world and painted all over the world. But for me, the color palette here, the challenge of the greens, the richness of our landscape, and especially with the Chestnut Group, we get to help preserve these rural landscapes. As a landscape painter, it's a dream place to paint. Always changing with the seasons. We have rich, beautiful 4 seasons here. So you really have the best of all worlds.
For any artist, the hardest thing is to learn how to focus on the process and the joy of the creating process, and not focus on the product. When I have a moment in time where I'm painting a painting, it's mine. I own it forever. And that's what we remember. It's these little pieces of time.
The Chestnut Group paintings will benefit the Harlansdale Farms homestead, the Hayes House. The paintings will be available at a fundraiser held at Harlansdale Farm.